welcome to the Deceptilab, and welcome to my weekly live stream. And today we are going to be talking about um, we're going to be talking about 5-star batch Legacy 12, and it's been some controversy over the last week. We'll talk about that, and I am trying out a new headset, so. If you guys in the chat, I see a couple people lurking around. Just let me know how that sounds. I'm trying something a little bit different. But yeah, we're gonna talk about that. And I actually got a new build that I'm looking at. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about that. Alright, Tara says that the headphones working really well. Alright, that's good. But yeah, it was a lot of stuff that went on last week. As you guys know, I didn't actually live stream last week, and apologies to you guys for that. And I really thought about it. I had a whole bunch of stuff prepared for last week, and then just some of the changes that were coming with just with the batch. The apes told us about that in testing last week, and we'll talk about that because I was a little bit less than pleased. I'm still a little bit less than pleased, and we'll actually take a look at that in a minute after we look at the newsletter. And obviously, this new meta is different. The acid meta, we got super healing on the in that healing cluster, and we're gonna look at that a little bit as well, kind of figure out some ways to navigate that. But before we do any of that, let's go take a look at this week's newsletter. All right, so this week's event, it is called, I got to fly out here. It's called Dire Judgment. It's season 15, week 7. And yeah, the saga. And yeah, so it's going to be an individual totalizer, 35k total. More prime core shards going to be in this one, 2.5k to be exact, along with 2.5k of the 4-star shards, 7.5k of the 3-star shards, and 30k of the premiums. You get 1 G metal and 10 gold power cores, 6 of the 500k troop XP items, War for Cybertron skin core, and 300k of combiner sparks. So that should allow me to take my Galvatronus to level 23. I think I got him at on my live account. So we've got your typical prize tree for 35k, typical battle zones. So some game updates and information. We're going to talk about all of this here in a little bit. But the biggest controversy this past week, and one of the main reasons why I didn't go on last week is I was really upset about skids and knockout. So the ability 11, the duration change, went from 5 seconds to 10 seconds. Well, it will go to from 5 seconds to 10 seconds when they push the update tomorrow. And I'll tell you why I was so upset about that here in a little bit. Hoist and Crankcase are going to come out tomorrow, as well as the 5-star. They did actually balance this one a little bit better, make the 5-star a little bit more desirable. The duration for his ability actually increased to 15 seconds, which I was really excited about, and the healing increased a little bit as well. So I was really high on him in the batch, and I'm honestly, I'm probably still going to pursue him. But that 15 seconds of that speed up is huge, especially in the current meta. So I'll be looking forward to that. No changes to top spin and Terrymander. That's going to remain the same. Star Saber and Deathsaurus are actually got a cost reduction. So instead of being 12 plus 3, it's going to 10 plus 3. Which, in all honesty, the apes said they still have something planned for Star Saber and Deathsaurus later in the year, I believe. And so maybe that contributes to not even making that a little bit lower. I know a lot of testers weren't exactly excited about Star Saber and Deathsaurus, so we can talk about that a little bit later on. And let's see. Air Raid and Slipstream. The bot, for me, that's the bot of the batch. I mean, since I already got knockout, Slipstream is what I'm looking forward to. And they just kind of did a typical, just balance for a 5-star. Gave it some additional health, gave it a little bit of additional damage. It's already a pretty high damage bot, so I get that one. And so they got some graphics up here on the newsletter. I'm not going to focus on that too hard because we'll actually look at that in the in game. We'll take a look at all of those. And then, of course, the endurance event is coming up for next week. And so that's going to be Ariel for the Autobots and Scylla for the Decepticon side. So they got the stats up there for that. I've already shown it. They didn't really make any change to the bots. I think it was yesterday or maybe this morning. I think it was this morning the apes gave everybody the go ahead to talk about it. But that's kind of where we're at. As always, keep up with all your official content creators, Engineer Horace, myself, Soldier, and Sunstreaker Waza. And as somebody mentioned in the chat earlier, no content creators went on last week. I think that caused a little bit of controversy as well, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Community corner, as always, some nice artwork. Don Juan got a draw on a battle trap. It actually looks really, really good. And then Blaster Wave 13 with some artwork. Let's see, we got some bug fixes in. So Red Heat and Bomb Shop, they were focusing on invisible buildings during battle. That's been fixed. The purple and blue Crimzigs and the Nano Frost Battle Boost, those are no longer going to be able to work on the Titan. So that's going to be fixed and should be in with the update tomorrow. Impactor, they had a problem where Impactor was getting stuck in SG Thundercracker, SG Jetfire drones. That's been fixed. Brawn was showing as the G1 Brawn, the power core was shown in Decepticon colors. They fixed that. Nightstick and Fracus weren't working properly with Brawn and full tilt. So that's been fixed. And then Broadside and 8 Face. They drones were supposed to be non-targetable, but there were some cases where they were hacked, and so that's been fixed as well. Hacked by the Liege Maximo core. And tomorrow, Space Ape is going to have their live stream. So they'll be on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. So they one time a month they come on, and so that is going to be it for this week's news. So let's go back to the lab real quick, and we'll see who all is in the chat. So Lord Avix looks like he was number 1 this time. Lord Agrippa was in there after that. LJ Gav, Robert C4, one of my moderators and fellow content creators, Mercenary Terror, is in the chat. So appreciate all you guys for being here. Denali Kid is in the chat again, so thanks for joining. Venger Prime, one of my playtest friends, is in there, along with Alpha Trion 1. Let's see who else. Stay Puffed, another one of my playtest buddies. Thanks for joining. Let's see, we got Carnage is in there as well. And Where Did You Go? Let me make sure I ain't got anybody lurking that might not have spoke. And yeah, it looks like that's everyone for right now. So yeah, as always, thanks for joining. And let's go at the battlefield. We want to take a look a little bit at these new bots. All right, so I think I'm going to start off with Deathsaurus. So we'll take a look at him and his stats. I just kind of threw Groundhog up there, just put some kind of combat on him. And I think from a testing standpoint, one of the biggest concerns, and we'll go and look at the combat so that he can equip. So one of the biggest concerns for him was that, you still only can really use like companion type combats. And since the entire time I've been playing the game, they haven't been able to really do anything with that. And part of it, I believe, is with the just just with the animations and stuff with the sword and everything. They weren't able to do anything with that. So what they wound up doing was doing a cost reduction on him. He used to be 12 plus 3. He's now 10 plus 3. And so for that, I think that's a good thing. I don't know what's to come for him in the future. The apes have been promising that something's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be something where it's going to be like a G1 core, an ability 11, if they're going to change anything with him. But most of the playtesters kind of agreed that he needed like an overhaul. But for him, most of the stuff was just DPS bump, damage bump. We can actually take a look at him on the actual battlefield, see how he does. For those of you in the chat, let me know, who are you looking forward to out of this batch. For me, personally, it's definitely going to be Slipstream. Um, I think she will do really well on a walk team. And so that's what I'm really, really looking forward to out of this batch. All right, so I'm on the test server. Obviously, I got like a HQ17 base, so not really like the strongest. But let's take a look at this 5-star Deathsaurus, see how he does. Now he's still got incredible range. Um, I do always wonder if they're gonna keep him kind of limited, because like as you can see there, I use his ability 2 times, and it, like I said, on a HQ17, I was able to pop all the top outposts and everything like that, but it was really, really expensive. So I do kind of wonder what this plan is that the apes are talking about for the future in regards to Deathsaurus. I think he needs something just a little bit more or something, but it's still a pretty fun bot. You can still sack with him. I wouldn't, because he's expensive. And to be honest, a lot of people have been going away from sack anyway. Primarily after the MSMs came out, but you know, I beat that dead horse quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, I think he still get the job done. I do think a lot of the anti-EMP cores do come into play. And for you guys who've been watching me for a while, you can actually see that I changed up my team a little bit. I'm trying to get more acid and fire onto the team, especially knowing that knockout and skids are going to be having longer duration, which personally I honestly consider that a nerf. If we're being honest, when you do that to a damage over time bot. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. So Mercenary Terror says that he's going for Crankcase or Terrymander. Alright. LJ Gav is going for Slipstream. Let's see. Stay Puff is saying, and you know, a little bit of history on that. Star Saber and Deathsaurus were bots for leaderboards at the time they were released, when they were for four stars. So that, and he's looking forward to Hoist. And I see that S. Clohasi is joined. Thanks for joining. In addition to Rob Wagner. Rob Wagner says, watch the apes give him some kind of grenade. G1. And the last time I was on 2 weeks ago, we were actually talking about that a little bit, because nobody really likes those. You know, I don't have a problem with them, but I just like they don't always match the bots that we're trying to use them with. So yeah, I hope that's not the case. Let's see. Berserkers joined the chat and says that disappointed that the Deathsaurus reduction wasn't to 9 points, and we discussed it at length. We discussed that at length, and the apes wanted to give it a modest. I'm really curious to see what this next step for Deathsaurus and Starsaber is, because I don't think they wanted to take him too low, because then he could get overpowered, depending on what it is they're trying to do with him. Let's see. Where did you go? Is going for Starsaber. Mercenary Terry wanted to point out that you can't give him G1 because he's from Victory. So, and yeah, you know, so bot specific. I think people just kind of say G1, and yeah, they just kind of say G1 when they talk about the power core. But you know, bot specific works also. You know, are they going to give him a core that's unique to him? Who knows? And of course, my dog's starting to go crazy in the background right as I started streaming. Probably got people out there cutting grass or something. Let's see. Let me also go to. I'm put. If I can find him, put Block back in this spot. Let's see. Rock Wagner's going for knockout. Oh yeah, hey, nice to see you, Spec. Stay Puff says maybe Saber will crush Cyber League. You know what? We had that conversation in playtest, I believe, at some point. Um, yeah, I mean, perhaps, but it's just like, you know, I get your point. Your point is, do we want to use this bot in Prime League? And as it stands right now, nah. The Nally Kid says, loving knockout. My good friend Trap just got into the chat. Welcome. He just got off of work. He actually got to catch me live this time. All right, so let me go take a look. And I'll probably take Scavenger out. Let's take a look at Crankcase. And I don't have anything on him right now, but I think he's going to be really good for walk teams. So this is what his statistics look like right now. Now, the tooltip on the playtest server is jacked up. It says attack 10% faster. We just looked at it on a newsletter. It's not 10%. They ain't forgot a zero or something. But we can stick him up there, and I just leave him at his base level because I just want to focus on his ability a little bit, and we can take a look at that. But that's what we're gonna be getting. Still a little on the squishy side for me. I do like the possibility of him being on some of these walk teams, and so I'll just do this. I'll put the whole squad out here, just kind of playing around. But I like his ability a lot, honestly, because you get to double dip a little bit. You get some healing. Now, one thing I will say is you're gonna have to watch out for those healing power cores, but at the same time, you are getting a bot that's gonna give you a nice little speed boost for all the attackers. Now, I will say a lot of players don't like speed boost abilities. When you start talking about something having an 100% speed boost, and you can see it's really good for pathing. Like in this particular case, the team just walked around half of the base because they're taking stuff out so fast, and I popped out an outpost bot in LOP, and these guys are already at the top of the screen. So it's one I was excited about. I kind of been back and forth over how excited I want to be about this bot. Oops, I actually hit the wrong button for a second. But I think he's definitely got, pretty good value for really any meta. He's just he's just so low in health though. That's always going to be the concern. Is it his health? But I understand because at the end of the bot, at the end of the day, you got a bot that can heal himself and heal the other bots around him. So I kind of get it. And I think that's probably going to do it for that battle. As Clohasi says, that Crank will pair nicely with the new bot. Um, so yeah, the upcoming endurance bot, and that's a good point, especially because that's a command and control style bot, and so you can kind of guide your team where to go, and then just hit that speed boost without taking a lot of damage. So both of them are going to be really really good. Um, really really good walk team bots, and just bots that I think will last throughout from meta to meta, if I'm being honest. Trap says crankcase used with speed adjust because there's a difference of with and without. Yeah, I can do that. I can go throw one in there. Lord Avix was saying to use crankcase and motor master in your teams, and yeah, you can definitely do that. You can do that for sure. Just because you know and I've talked about it on the stream before. When you start talking about naturally occurring combos, I feel like if a bot's like, your motor masters, we've been trying to make this push for people to use to use Rodimus Unicronus, um, because the abilities and making everything happen faster. Um, Rodimus Unicronus and Inferno, excuse me. And let's see, I can also switch up my healer from Hook to, where is he at? Let me go to my healer button. We can stick that 5-star shockwave in there. And let's see how it looks like that. Yeah, no worries, Trap. I'm running it again. I'm running it again with some speed boosters up here. And so let's see. Let me get these first couple of outposts popped. I can't do that because I gotta. And man, I'm in a little bit of trouble because I am about to lose Blot. And I probably should have started out from the right hand side here, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, man, I really think that That might be alright. So let me try something real quick. Got it. Okay. I thought I had brought up the combiner a little too early. Once I get up here into these top clusters again, I think I will actually wind up running some speed boosts again. So give me a moment. Alright, so I'm gonna come back out with my 10 seconds of invulnerability. And I might have messed up there because I might have messed up there because I don't have any ability points. And I knew Koala Gun is gonna come out. Yeah, I actually blew that, so I might, just for the purpose of demonstrating the speed boost again, I might run it back. Hold on, guys. Let me go grab my dog real quick. I'll be right back. So yeah, back out of that one, and I'll go into a base trial. LJ Gav says maybe I should bring my dog in onto the stream. I've done it before. He was actually taking a nap when I first started, but I think it's that time of the day when everybody's coming home and like they're probably walking their dogs and everything, and he's just like, man, like what's going on out there? Hey. All right, so let's see, base trial. And that's one of the things I kind of emphasized, though, going back to the battle that I was just running. Like I can always pinpoint when I make a mistake on an attack, and I think a lot of people are just like, "Hey, man, the game has changed, it's gotten harder and stuff like that." But I mean, shoot, man, like I think it's just learning how to strategize around it. So I'm gonna drop my team here, and let's take a look at how these abilities pair together. These speed abilities, because it's gonna be pretty quick. I can tell you that. And so yeah, it just really tears some stuff up down there on the bottom of that base. And that's with roller force in there. That's with me using the ability from Shockwave. It's actually pretty cool. But I mean, it hasn't even been 30 seconds yet. Granted, I just let my team get hacked or whatever, but it's just kind of demonstrating how fast that stuff really works. I mean, I think it's a good deal. Spec says he put micro and cradle on crank. I've done that before. It works. It works pretty fairly well. I've done a couple of different setups with him, just like with my support bots. Um, you get some flexibility. It depends on team needs and stuff. So, but yeah, so that's what we're looking at there. Let's see. But yeah, overall, it's not a bad pull if you want to go for Crater. Crankcase and Hoist. All right, so my pick of the batch is actually Slipstream. Actually, you know what? Let me do something. Let me, just for right now, I'm gonna put Scavenger back in. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna put Scavenger back in. And I'm actually gonna take Acid Storm out. Only because I'm gonna be using his combat bot. So let's see. Put Slipstream in here. So let's take a look at her stats real quick. So the damage is pretty good. The damage is actually really, really good. I'm gonna go in, and I always trip people out when I do this, but I'm gonna go stick my 4-star Singe in there, basically because I'm gonna be using her for support. And so I'm gonna go use my pairing that a lot of people hate. I don't actually give a fuck, but I like it. I like using. Oops, I didn't actually put the power core on. I just took it away from. I was actually using it on Acid Storm. I started using that on my live server. Spec told me to use uh, Slipstream and Full Tilt. I'll get you a demo of that in a second. It actually works really well. But that actually brings up a good point for me. Like, for me personally, like a lot of people focus on the range part of it, and so you'll need like another range bot to use with Slipstream. For me personally, I just like using her up close. I like, if I'm on a walk team and I know that I'm going to destroy something, and I get, what is it, 20 seconds to destroy that item. That's a guaranteed naturally occurring combo. And Matt Polly just joined the chat. Thanks for joining. And we just talking about these new bots. The not all of them are new. The bots that are going into batch 12. Trap says Sin sucks. that's more of like an inside joke because Trap and I are actually taking the time out to prove how effective Singe could be, and we still got Singe sucks crowd and a lot of our chats. But yeah, I think that and a lot of people cringe when I use that combo with Quintus, but it gives a faster rate of healing, so I'm all for it. But and of course I got my team stunt right here. But this is what I really love about Slipstream, and so I'll talk about the bad part first. So the health for me is kind of a problem, but what I love, that's why I did the Quintus and Singe combo. But I'm walking up this base and I go use her ability, knowing I'm about to destroy that autocannon. And right now, it's not really a cluster. But say I pick an easy target like a build bot. Well, actually, this isn't the best base for that, but let's see what I can work out. But anytime you actually destroy anything, you're getting that additional AoE damage the entire time that you are walking up the base. So for me, that makes it very, very appealing. I want to try to get a base that's a little bit more clustered though. I might even do it on a base trial for that one. But you can see how quickly that back half just wind up bringing everything down. I know my base is pretty clustered up front, so and there's a lot of front loaded bases defensively right now in the current meta. So we can take a look at that too, and I can actually break out full tilt. Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit earlier, Matt Polly, but yeah, that the newsletter had Horst as a 5-star with a 10% boost. Yeah, it's a typo. It's 110%. And my blue stacks crashed for a second, so let that load back up for a second. Yeah, Lord Avix is pro Singe. I like it. Now, and so here's my thing, and you guys know, like I spent most of last year talking about I spent most of it talking about individual healing. And so if I get an opportunity to individually heal with a support type, and that's the key thing for me, it's a support type air class bot, then that means I don't gotta use Fracus on a bot. And so I'm all for it. So I can get that individual healing. Like for Slipstream, one of the lower health bots for the air class. That and that Quintus combo, it keeps her alive, so I'm all for it. Yeah, and that's the key point, Tara. I play State of Survival, and I've taken some risk over the last couple of weeks because at one point, like almost all of my team was healing itself in some capacity, and that has changed. I was supposed to be using full tilt this run. Let me go get him. Hey, Trap says we're gonna get it nerfed because we keep saying it's great. Now that's actually a sore topic for me right now because we got a few folks up there that are saying every time the content creators make some stuff, it winds up getting nerfed or whatever. Um, to be honest, like a lot of the stuff that we say, I mean, it might put an idea in the apes' head. I did it again. I really went back in again and didn't put full tilt into this battle. It must not be meant to be. Sorry, Spec. No, but yeah, dude, like, and so story time a little bit. So when we were talking about some of the changes, like they did a survey this time for playtest. Space Ape did, and in this particular survey was asking us about each of the new bots, and basically it was like a yes or no type thing. It was like, hey, do you like this bot? Do you think it's ready for the batch? And if you say yes, it just moved on to the next question. If you said no, then it would ask you. I had a list of things that could possibly be wrong. They'd be like, hey, do you want more range? Like, do you think it needs more DPS? What do you think it needs? And so what they were trying to do, the apes were trying to, because a lot of times it's a lot of chatter when we're testing. And they were trying to cut that down just like a little bit, I feel like. But at the same time, we couldn't really see what the other testers were claiming. And so when we got into the thing about knockout, the claim was, well, hey, the testers wanted this now. And so when I saw that on the first day, that people started talking about the potential nerf, I was like, nah, man, we didn't say that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know what? I keep forgetting that I keep forgetting that I have that anti EMP core there because I don't have it on the live server. So I'll run that full tilt combo again. So one of the reasons people really like that full tilt combo with Slipstream is because Slipstream's ability 11 is going to give you some EMP, and so that means you get a free use of a full tilt. And to be honest, full tilt and brawn, um, you don't want that combo to get too costly for you, and so that's kind of the focal point there. So now you get a little bit cheaper of a combo, and it allows you to add some range to it. Because, like I said, I was using Slipstream in really close range. So, like here, actually, let me see something real quick. So, yeah, like here, I can put it on something simple. Like, I actually did it in the wrong order. Let me see how many. And you can just keep daisy chaining those AoE combos. So that's kind of what we're looking for. Trap still in the chat talking about Singe. So let's see. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, guys. Like, I think that if you go and use Slipstream and Air Raid, it could help you a lot of different ways, and I think it particularly really helps on those walk teams. All right, so let's see. So we got Terrymander. And I'll just kind of show him off. I mean, we already know what he does. But, and the biggest thing for him was the debuff. I don't know if Trap is so Trap, like, his one of his main bots, off and on has been Blitzwing. So you can always pair with Blitzwing. I didn't do it here. I probably should have, but he's got a pretty good ability, and it gets to give you a little bit of debuff. It's really powerful. It's got great range, but it's kind of a really niche type bot. So I'm just like, I'm not overly excited about him being in the batch. I'll be honest with you, but I do see value in what he could do. I think if they would have did something like put I lost my train of thought for a second, but if they'd have put it where it could combo with other bots that did fire damage, I probably would have been okay with it. But we wound up doing just Blitzwing and Skylinks. So I thought it was kind of a weird combination. Trap said hush on Blitzwing too. They'll nerf him. I mean, good. No, I'm just playing with you. No, I don't think you got to worry about them nerfing him. I can't find my cursor. Trying to use Quellagon. Lord Avic says, talk about a bot I'll never use. But yeah, man, so I think I think he's okay. We'll take a look at his stats real quick. It's definitely a powerful ability. It's just a little bit too niche for me. Maybe the meta changes at some point that makes me more inclined to use them. I mean, if I pull them, I'll still level them. But when he first came out for the endurance event, I never was really overly excited about him. But I've started to see him in wars once or twice. The health, he's a little bit on the squishy side. I probably could run his ability up to 11 again. But it said you get an additional debuff for that 11. The additional 10%. And it gives him a pretty good little boost. Here I got him without his power core and stuff like that. Alright, so let's talk about the controversial part. Let's talk about knockout. So now, the ability 11 is the thing for me that really did it. I've been using knockout this whole time. And honestly, I think right now in the test, it looks like it's only doing like 10 seconds. It's only doing 5 seconds still. We did get the tested a little bit at 10 seconds. Honestly, it was kind of rough, man. We actually did it in playtest wars, and it was just I just don't like it because when you go look at a bot that does damage over time, shorter is better. Now I'll tell you what happened. A lot of people not a lot of people, but in playtest the conversation kept coming up about having multiple, and I'm gonna go in here and actually put Acid Storm back onto my team while I'm talking about it. But with knockout, it was saying having longer duration for the purpose of anti-heal, and like I get it, anti-heal is huge right now, but at the same time, I actually want to go to my base and look at some of this stuff real quick because I want to put everything in perspective, and I want to put it in perspective with numbers. But just let me get Acid Storm built up first. I actually been playing around with my teams a lot. I'm running him with Quintus right now. And I know it sounds weird, but like I said, he's a support type air class bot. So that's why I'm doing that. And it's been working pretty well. Alright, so let's go back to knockout. Alright, so when I look at it in terms of damage, right? So I use the Alchemist Prime Core and I use it with Fireline because I like for him to actually give himself more health as we go along through the battle. So you're talking about a little over 6,000 if you use the knockout core. But here's the kicker for me: 3 times damage to walls, minions, and outpost bots. So here's the part that pissed me off. When we were originally testing this bot, there was a long conversation about knockout, and the conversation was because let me start at the beginning. Knockout was one of the bots, Knockout and Skids. They were a pair of the bots where we started looking at having the ability 11 built in playtest before the bot came out, having the G1 on bot specific core built before testing when testing started. So that way we would know what the future would look like for that bot. It was a great idea by the apes, and I think it was the right move. I think it was the right thing to do. So my issue with changing this ability is this: you built this bot around his damage, and you built it around the tooltip that says that he does 3 times damage to walls, minions, and outpost bots, right? So now you're making it take longer, and in most cases, bases are already front loaded. And so now you're getting pounded on this whole time while you're waiting for it to do this 3 times damage to the outpost bots, walls, outpost bots. And like, I really don't like that. It, it screamed to me, kind of screams It kind of screams, and I'm not trying to accuse anybody of anything, man, but it screams bait and switch, man. Like when you go do that. So then I'm looking at the history of when 5-star batches are released, and one of the things about when a 5-star batch is released is lately we've been seeing a lot. We've been seeing a lot of changes to bots as they become into the 5-star batch, and I don't like that, man. Like I feel like the problem that we're being told about this particular bot, the problem that we're being told is that, well, players are leaving their bot at ability 10, and that's not right. That's not right. We want it to feel like it's a boost for them. They're using it, leaving it at ability 10 because ability 10 is still 10 seconds, and then they get to enjoy their anti heal. But you didn't make the bot for anti heal. You didn't make the bot for anti heal at all. You made the bot to do 3 times damage versus walls, outpost bots, and minions. And you wanted to do it quickly. We already had that conversation when they originally tested the bot. And so if the tooltip doesn't mean anything, if the tooltip can just, we just gonna change it, like, and this bot came out in either late September, early October, somewhere around that area. I just don't like that. I think it was wrong, and it bothered me that the bot was changing the duration. Not gonna lie to you, but what bothered me more is all the aftermath that ensued. So I didn't go stream last week. Sunstreaker Waza decided he was going to join just because we're worried about a little bit about the direction of the game, and I think that's a legitimate fear because when you look around and you start to see that events are getting longer and longer, which some people enjoy, but I was like, I would enjoy it more if they made it more individual events that got longer as opposed to team events. Event organizers moving people around, you waiting on some dudes to show up in your alliance. People don't want to war as much. And I've been making the comment in a lot of chats that I'm in is that the game is turning into Transformers Earth events more than Earth wars, right? And most of you that watch me or talk to me in Discord, I've been saying that a lot. But the problem that I had was the aftermath after this. So the content creators didn't go on, and honestly, I think it was just me and Waz. I think like Engineer Horse already had other stuff going on and didn't make a video that week. Um, Soldier just kind of he does his videos when he does them. Um, he doesn't really do the live stream stuff as often. So then they said, "Oh man, well the content creators are on strike and the play testers are on strike," and it just start going around. And then it turned into at one point, I think Dale got into Discord and says, "Well, I don't know what they're trying to prove by going on strike." And I was like, so that I felt like I had to defend myself a little bit. I was like, I'm frustrated with some of the things that have changed in the game. And I'm usually a really, really cool, level-headed guy. Most people that talk to me be like, "Hey, Freeze is really chill." The problem that I really had is, it just wasn't right to me the way that we went about this. The surveys that we did in playtest, we didn't get to see the data. So I started asking more questions because I was like, hey man, it seems like the only feedback that really got calculated on like a Google form like that, the only one that got calculated was the negative feedback. So yeah, and to be honest with you, I didn't really appreciate some of the negativity that I got from some folks for not streaming last week. I'm okay with it. I can live with it. I'm a grown man, but there's no reason to try to go back and try to side talk anything that I'm doing. I was like, I'm trying to do you a favor and not speak negatively in the game when I knew that I was already upset about the direction the game was going and the direction that we took with this particular bot. And it's okay with that. It's better to let cooler heads prevail and go ahead and do the thing. Like I already had a good idea that this bot was going to get changed, because randomly, before we even started testing Knockout, or it might have been after the first test, Dale came into the playtest chat and said, "Hey man, and started trying to give us reasons why it might be good to give him this 10-second duration." And I was like, I'll admit I was a little standoffish, but I was like, no, that's not good. I was like, when you're using a damage over time bot, it is better for him to have time, shorter durations. And so for me, it comes off like a nerf. At one point, he even said, "Hey man, this is kind of like then it turned into, well, it depends on how you use them. If you use them for damage, that's like, you built the bot for damage. What do you mean? You built this bot to do damage. You built this G1 core or his bot specific core to do damage. You built this bot around damage, and now you're trying to tell me there's an anti-heal bot, and people and players are struggling." But let me tell you this: I told everybody in playtest, and it was really only a couple of people that really wanted them changed. But then that turned into, oh man, well, it was in the surveys. The surveys, the players said they wanted them changed. All right, cool. How many? Oh well, it was kind of split. So I was like, so y'all just want it to be that way. Y'all wanted it to be that way. We already started having the conversation early on, before we even got deep into testing for this stuff. And I was like, and if you had given me a logical reason, as a play tester, as a player, if you had given me a logical reason, I'd have been perfectly okay with that. That you felt the need, but then but what it wound up being was a bunch of dumb reasons. It wound up being, oh well, if you're gonna combo him with Scavenger, then Scavenger's 10 seconds, you're losing 5 seconds off of Scavenger. No, you're not. You're gaining 5 seconds of 20% combo increase. That's the truth. But we get so short-sighted about things. Let's take a look at this core that we're all afraid of real quick, because what we're really afraid of is not that one. We are afraid of, where I put it, that Micronus core, 15% every 5 seconds. So that means, okay, so now if I go use Knockout, I can stop this twice instead of once. All right, so you still want to stand there for 10 seconds trying to pound on whatever the defense it is that has the Micronus core? Dude, that makes 0 sense. It just doesn't make sense. And it was a bad idea. It's still a bad idea. When the community found out about it today in the Cybertron chat on Discord, most of them didn't think it was a good idea. It just doesn't make sense to me. If y'all told me that the bot was overpowered, or if y'all told me that the meta was going to change, case in point, I'll show you a bot where we knew the meta was going to change and they reduced its power. Acid Storm, right? Acid Storm was getting ready to come into the 5-star batch. They said they reduced them 33%. Right? Okay. Acid Storm from the very beginning was built to be a bot that blocked healing. He was always meant to do that. It's in his tooltip. That was never a piece of Knockout and Skids' tooltip. Just wasn't. They built them for the damage against walls, outpost bots, and minions, right? So my comment to a lot of people was, well, if you want longer duration for anti-heal, go use Acid Storm and Slingshot. It just makes sense to me. They built him in his tooltip for that. They built it in the tooltip for that. Now, some of the playtesters in the chat was saying Dale wanted it the whole time. No, so here's the thing. Dale represents, he's the messenger, so he's talking on behalf of the team. Now, I don't know who it was on the team that wanted that, but clearly they had already made that decision, or were very close to making that decision, because people were leaving Knockout and Skids at ability 10. I'm not going to say that they aren't justified, but what you've done in the process is they had a choice to leave it at ability 10. Now I don't have a choice of choosing longer duration or shorter duration and getting damage. I'm just told, well, if you use the bot that way, you're out of luck. But here I have this bot here, an Acid Storm, that blocks healing for 15 seconds. That's cool. Let's take a look at other bots that people are using. So I think the biggest concern is people want to use 5 stars. All right, so let's look at another 5-star that people are using. Headstrong and Pipes, right? So let me go in and build his ability up to 11. But Headstrong, Pipes, bots you can easily use for his acid ability. Some of these Russian type tanks, they started to get, and now with the upgrade, you get an acid effect in a small area impact. I need to go in and do my test account and get more Z Energon to apply that, but we'll do that while I talk. You have options. You got 4-star options, and you got a couple of 5-star options up there. There was no reason that these guys had to change this bot for the sole purpose of anti-heal. It's just not logical. Doesn't make sense. It's not something that anybody's going to tell me that's going to change my mind about it. You know, some people might say the only thing I'll give some folks is they say, oh, well, it's still the same amount of damage. It's still going to work. Yeah, but you got a gunner that's going to be sitting up there getting pounded on. You got a gunner that's sitting up there with, in most cases, 4 target protocol cores pointed in his face. And it's still a strategy game. I'm not saying that you can't strategize around it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying to make it make sense as to why you would do something like that. Because right now, as it stands, it doesn't make sense. I don't agree with it. I was frustrated with it last week. You can clearly see I'm still frustrated with it. And I don't think you should be changing these things. There are people that save their shards. They've been watching all of us who did the endurance event. This is the only endurance event I did, by the way. That's the only endurance event I did, and now all of a sudden the bots changed. So now I'm out of luck on the bot that I've invested in heavily, both for the endurance event and for all the leveling I did to get them to level 67. And for all you guys who don't have them and they get ready to go into this batch and been waiting for this batch, you're getting the bot that doesn't work the same way as it's been working for people for the last 6, 7, 8 months. It's not right. And there are still bots available that you can use for acid. I saw people who hated rush in style tanks. They were using this guy here. They were using Block and Rook. Now I see people going to war in Prime League hard mode using Headstrong. You put the Leech Core on them, and now you can actually rush them into the Leech cluster because you know he's got it on him. He got his Leech Core on him. That's why I just loaded him up the way I did. Jed Prime made the comment, and that's a true statement. He said that Dale said that if it was his call exclusively, he would have done 5 seconds. It would have been 10 seconds, but it would have been 5 seconds damage, and then another 5 seconds of just anti-heal acid. And that's a very true statement. He did say that. He said that to us in text as well, and that's why I said that he is kind of the vocal piece for the team. And I don't envy that at all, man. Like, I'll be honest with you. I think it's kind of crappy that they hide behind Dale at times. But my point still stands, whether it's to him, the team, whoever's talking about it. You have the option of using other bots in this game. You didn't have to go change Knockout and Skids. There was no reason. Not a good one, at least. And I kind of wish everybody was a little bit. I wish the community as a whole, they were outraged. I wish they were a little bit more outraged, because what they did in this particular case, it wasn't right. And I think what it was, the team would have had to take a lot more time to try to completely rebalance the bot. That they were going to do 5 seconds of just damage, acid damage, and then 5 seconds of another 5 seconds of anti-heal. It'd have been a lot more work. But if it's going to make your player base happy, look, happy players spend more money. They do. I said I stopped spending when they changed this spot. So I'm just saying. But that's kind of what we're looking at. But I'm gonna kind of get off of my high horse about it. Let me take a look in the comments. Oh, and Chris Harmon got up there. Yeah, and my bad, man. I forgot to tell you, I was going on an hour early today because I was just like, man, I got family stuff going on in a little bit. Mercenary Terror says he hasn't seen me rant that much since Dino Gate. Trap wanted to add that Skywarp and Double Dealer. You got some of these other 4-star asset bots that are really good. I think the problem is a lot of people don't want to invest hard in 4 stars, and I get that, but they are actually really really good bots. But at a minimum, you've got 2 other options that you can use, and you can actually build a really really good team using some of these other uh, asset bots for anti-heal. But yeah, man, that's kind of where I'm at about it. It really puts a sour note onto the batch for me, man. I really wanted for everybody to get something, and you know what? Sometimes, to my point, sometimes with the meta, uh, if the asset meta hadn't have already started, like I sincerely think that Deathsaurus and Star Saber are probably being built for a future meta, and that's why some of the other stuff is on hold. But since this meta is already built, and since we've already had this bot for 7 or 8 months, I think we should leave him exactly the way that he was. And then if you need another anti-heal bot, you go into your developer's lab and you build them. But that's how I feel about that. Last thing I was going to talk about, because I'm going to move on from this before I get even more pissed off. So there is a pairing that I started using because I started trying to redo my team in preparation for the knockout. The knockout, I consider it a nerf. And what I started doing is I started using Impactor, and I built up my Megatronus core, and I started using that on him. And the reason why I did that is because he's going to be out front and doing his melee combat, and so that Ring of Fire, if I keep my team together like I should be, if I'm pathing properly, then when if I start getting my little acid burst from bots like the equipped with Fracus or any other acid bots really, then he's gonna always wind up getting a damage boost, and so it actually works really well. I've been using it off and on for a couple of weeks now. In situations where I need blot, I use blot. Yeah, he started tearing me up really, really quickly. But even then, you could actually see right there around that wall where the fire damage was still present. I can't find my cursor. But that's really what I was looking at. I started using them out front, and dude, it honestly, it's a little congested out here right now. But it honestly works really really fast with that Megatron is cool, and I really really started to enjoy it. Like I really like the pairing, and if I can find opportunities to keep him out front, I've been taking them. And I said I ain't gonna win this one, not while I'm not while I'm using my mouse. Yeah, Atari's base is actually really good. If I was actually playing on my cell phone, and I not to say that he doesn't that he ain't whooped me a couple of times, because he certainly has whooped me more times than I actually beat him. But he yeah, his base is really good. I started to learn how to do it, but it's just like it's tough for me to it's tough for me to play with a mouse, man, compared to just playing the game on my phone. Um, and just because of the way that I got my mouse set up. Now I got other games that I'll play that I'll use like a gaming mouse for, but it is what it is. But cool, man. Like I got other stuff to do for the rest of the night, so I'm gonna go ahead and take off. Um, like I said, man, batch coming out tomorrow. If you guys aren't already, join my Discord server. I would love to see all those nice polls you got. I know everybody been saving their 5-star shards, so share that with me when you go make your polls tomorrow. My Discord server, if you're not already in it, is in the about section of my channel. And I will see you guys next time. And I will also see you on the battlefield. Freezy is out.